I believe that quantum stocks are one of the biggest bubbles currently in the market. Now, I'm also going to explain why today you saw a surge of buying happening, but also why this ties back into this being a massive bubble and giant scam. Please hear me out. I want to highlight, I am not short. I have no position in quantum. I am just making these videos for educational. I'm being totally transparent. Zero position, okay? So I am not biased here whatsoever. Let's get into it. So today we had crazy news, well, last night into this morning. So last night we had news that quantum stocks were surging because Trump in the United States was eyeing stakes in a specific company, right? They didn't say which quantum company, but they wanted to get stake in quantum names. Now, overnight, we saw most of these names move up like 10% plus. Some went up even more. Now, what's crazy and where things get really interesting very, very quickly, right? I had to Google the quantum. We'll go to QTUM in a second, but I had to go to on Twitter and I post this for all you, so it's all there for you. The United States comes out and say, we are not in talks to take stakes in any of these companies. And then the crazy, dude, it gets crazier. Like it's literally going back and forth. Like then Rigetti says, guys, we are in talks with the United States government. After the United States says we're not doing it. Now, who knows what to believe here, but I am telling you right now, this is the sketchiest trade of all. Now, even if you want to, push, let's say you want to get a little aggressive here. What's the risk? What's the reward? We'll talk about it here in the video. But I'm just using logic, facts, and everything that's right in front of us to go about this. So if you have any questions, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's get to work. Now, the first thing that I do want to say, and I always do this first, let's understand, do they have any value? Like, are they making any money right now? Well, RGTI over the last year, let's look. They did 2.3 million in November 2024. So quarter number 3 earnings of 2024, quarter number 4 earnings of 2024. They did 2 million again. They missed. They did 1.4 million. They've actually missed nonstop. And then the most recent earnings were 1.8 million. So we can summarize that on the year, we'll bump them up to, let's say they will be great for them, okay? So we'll say they do $2.5 million a quarter, so $10 million a year, which they don't do. They do less than that. So, but we'll give benefit of the doubt. They do $10 million a year. That's their gross revenue, and they're losing money. Obviously, things to think about. Rigetti, well, what's their market cap? Their market cap is still $12 billion, ladies and gentlemen. $12 billion. I want to remind you though, they did have a $16 billion market cap on the last video that I made. So we're moving in the right direction, I guess. But to give you food for thought, they're doing $10 million a year. Their market cap is worth $12 billion. That is well over 1,000x valuation of a company. Yes, you heard it right. 1,000x valuation of this company. Truly remarkable. They're not profitable. They make no money. But the White House wants to take stake in this company as it's grossly overvalued. Now, I understand the White House doesn't always make the best financial decisions of all time. Neither does the Fed, apparently. But this is crazy. Do they have to have a chimpanzee in the back room making financial decisions if they're buying into RGTI? That would be absurd. Okay? You need to keep your head on a swivel with understanding what's happening out there, okay? Now, again, if there was any quantum names that even remotely made sense, I would say IONQ. That's the one that I would side with if they were going to buy any. At least they make some sort of income with 20 million, previously 11. They're growing, right? This is what you want to see. 11 million, 7 million, and then to 20. Like, at least there's some growth. Now, maybe it stalls, who knows? But this is, if I had to pick any of them, I'd say IONQ probably looks the best as of right now. The kicker. This is the kicker. This is the absolute kicker, guys. Okay? You literally can't make this up. You cannot make this up. The news that they're going to come out and invest in a quantum name and take stake of one of these companies comes the day after. Yesterday, this literally came out around lunchtime. Google has a breakthrough as quantum computer surpasses the ability of supercomputers. The first quantum computing company to come out with anything with a breakthrough in quantum. Now, granted, you're not going to make money off this right now, but they're actually showing progress, which none of these other companies are showing any progress in. And what happens? Well, what happens to that? Well, when that news comes out, look, quantum gets destroyed the entire day. Every name, RGTI, all of them. Okay. Now, again, like RGTI literally got destroyed yesterday, right? You're at your level 34, 35. We'll go more into technicals in a second. But again, guys, I've never seen such a scam out. I mean, like, we've seen some really shady stuff this year in the market, but this is clear as day. These quantum names trying to save face. Now, the crazy part is on a lot of these names, like RGTI, IONQ, the CEOs have no funds, like, they have no stock. So that is weird. Like, I don't really know if I don't think they're trying to sell because they're not even invested in their own companies. And which is worth mentioning. Google this for yourself. Go ask ChatGPT. Look, say how many shares does RGTI CEO have of the company? How much does IONQ CEO have? They might have generated some more, but as of like this past year, they literally had none. So worth mentioning. Okay. These are the companies that people are trying to get rich quick on. And understand, you are not going to get rich quick. You're not going to get rich quick. You might get lucky here and there, but ultimately getting rich quick is almost, you might as well go play the lottery. Guys, you're not going to do in the stock market. I promise you right now. Okay. If you want to have success, it's going to have to be repeatable. You have to put in the hours, the time, etc. Gonna let you know that right now. So I'm looking at these names, they're still scream ass. Now, the bright side, I'm gonna go into some cheaper names that I'm looking to buy on any dip. I'm gonna tell you all about them. But for right now, this is all you need to know quantum. It's still terrible. And I'm gonna go into technicals here in a second also. But before I do that, I wanna say, if you wanna see what we're trading, how we're trading every day, the Discord link is down below. We start every day with futures. We go in from there, telling you what to look for, why we're looking at it. For instance, here on the day, we started with NASDAQ 814 before market open. We said if you get above 25,025, we're looking for 25.2. As you can see here, you started the day right there, down there at like 25,000, a little bit under it. As you go into NASDAQ, we'll look at where you're at. You mounted that level, we shot up 200 points, literally free money on the day there. CrowdStrike was another big winner here on the day. We looked for MicroStrategy shorts, but you never got the entry opportunity, never held the support and below the support. So worth mentioning there. But all the trades are there, technicals, scalps, everything in between, trade ideas, recaps. It's all there for you. Do what you got to do. Profits. The link is down below. Check it out. Now, going into the market and going back into RGTI. Now, I'm going to show you the levels I'd be looking at. Now, again, I would try to be as transparent as possible, because I think if I had a position, I would be biased on this. And so I think people would have to know that, like, obviously, if I'm short, then I want the stock to go down, right? So RGTI, Q, Quantum, any of these names. Okay, if I'm looking to go short, I'm telling you where I look to enter. Now, I mentioned before, if you're getting the dip, you're looking for $35, $34, go look at the previous video. I already have these levels marked out. If you get below this level, you're looking for $28 to $29, wherever the 50 EMA is going to be right here, which you would have to assume it's going to be near this spot roughly. So around $28 to $30 is where to be targeting under 34. After that, you're looking at $21. Again, that would be a straight shot down in my opinion, and then all the way down to $15 at 200 SMA, and maybe it gets even worse. I don't know. But I will say RGTI for the past few months has been holding the 50 EMA, so that's been a monster support. I'd be willing to bet you get a test of that pretty soon. IONQ, one of the other big names out there. Again, we have the support mark. You almost got right into it, didn't touch 52, but worth mentioning, got right into that high roughly. So again, you get below this and hold below the 50 MA, you're looking for $40, the 200 SMA, which again, you can see over this past year has been a massive support. So again, what I would ultimately be targeting, if you get below the 200 SMA, the rug probably has been pulled. I'll tell you that right now. These are the biggest names that I'm watching. I know a lot of you guys like D-Wave. If I was looking here, biggest level I'd be targeting hands down is going to be all the way down here, $20 to $21. And then after that, the 200 SMA near $14. So again, what I'm looking at, what I'd be watching on Quantum. Now, the cheaper names that are getting me excited, names I'm looking to buy on any dip, etc. Number one, HIMS. HIMS is officially really, it's kind of at the big buy zone here, okay? The 200 SMA. Now, I will say there's inherent risk with buying HIMS down here. I'm telling you right now. Number one, the good thing is you're buying it at value. The bad thing is Trump has made statements directly against these weight loss drugs, and the companies are selling them. Obviously, HIMS sells quite a bit of that, and what's happened, the GLP, whatever it's called, right? You're buying risk, but again, everyone's always asking me, when do you buy HIMS? The 200 SMA, as you can see, has basically held up this entire year, going all the way back to 2024, 2020. You've basically held above since the December 2023. You've stayed above the 200 SMA and grinded up. So again, that's what you're watching right now. If you lose the 200 SMA, probably looking down towards $40 and $39. Those would be the levels I'd be watching. So again, tracking that. But I want to be clear, I wouldn't be buying options on HIMS. I'd only be buying stock. Very, very, very clear. Okay. Oscar, a lot of you guys have been asking about Oscar. Again, I traded Oscar way back. We got into this trade around $13, $14. I have that posted in Discord. You guys I've shown it here plenty of times. I'm not looking to buy Oscar here. You're trading your clear cut range. I mean, this is as clear as it gets. You come into like 24, 23, you reject over and over and over. So I think if you're buying it up here, I think it's really silly and stupid. You're looking to buy down here and you're 14 to $12 to $14 is where you want to buy. You want to buy here. You want to start selling your 20 into 24. That's what makes logical sense. Do what you got to do. And again, stock is the move there. Now, some of the AI names, the tech names, I think are big opportunities. Now, actually, number one is going to be CoreWeave, which this isn't a super cheap name, but I think it is an opportunity. Okay. Again, I might be going out on a limb, but let's talk about it. So, CoreWeave had a pretty nasty dip over the past day. You guys saw from like 150 all the way past few days, right? Down to like 116, the 50 MA. And you can see that. Now, it's important to realize what people don't think about or like spend the time on is you IPO'd back here. Well, guess what happened? And so the FUD that got you dipping on CoreWeave was that you had insiders selling a shit ton of shares, okay? Now, it's worth mentioning this week is the lockup, and it's the ending of the lockup period for the IPO. So this is the first time that a lot of these guys can sell. It makes logical sense that if you IPO'd on a stock, guys, really simple. This is what investors actually do, believe it or not. If you IPO down here at $38, $40 and you're at 120 and you can officially, this is the first time you can sell, what are you thinking? Guys, yeah, this is logical. I still think CoreWeave is solid. Again, I think you're just seeing an initial dip. I think you're seeing FUD above 124. I like this back into 132, 140, possibly 148. Really solid as well. One of my top cheaper names out there, definitely on the come up as well. Tempest AI. I really am trying to be conservative here on Tempest AI. You have to zoom all the way out to the daily. And again, you can see this is a massive level here at $77 to like 80. If you're looking at Tempest, I kind of like this both ways, options and shares, to be totally honest. I love what they're doing. Number one, their revenue is upticking. Okay. This is very, very, very important. If you look here, okay, 180 million, 200 million, 250, 314. That is great growth on earnings. That's some of the best that we've seen in the AI space out there. You have a lot of these, you have people focus on names like RGTI and D-Wave and these other ones, right? And I understand people's mentality. Like, look, I don't have a lot of money, and so I want to buy a really cheap name in hopes that I can double it quick, and then I can maybe do it again. And you need to understand that is a loser's mentality. And again, I'm not here to be your best friend. That's not I do love the subscribers. I've met a few of you guys in real life. You know, I want you guys to be successful. I really do. That's why I make this content and I make unbiased content at the end of the day. Is I know if I made more yes man content, I get more views, get more subscribers. But that's not the goal, like, of what I'm trying to do here. You know, I just try to share my realistic thoughts of what I'm doing. But it's crazy. You see a good name like Tempest that's having great overall growth, but people aren't really interested in it. They're interested in the trash names that hopefully can get them rich real quick, and that these crazy people on social media are trying to pump because they get you views, because it fuels this gambling cycle that you're trying to do. Like, Tempest is a solid company, one of the best. That being said, okay, do what you got to do, okay? Now, big support here. Ideally, where I would want to load up on this thing, and I'm still in the camp that I think we eventually get a dip on the market. Call me crazy. $65, anywhere near the 200 daily SMA is like the easiest buy of all time. I just don't know if you're going to get that dip. One of my top names, it's on the top of my list right now. A lot of you guys like Path as well, which their revenue, they actually make money, which is a good sign. They really do. Okay. They've initiated like the no pun intended, the path to making more money and more revenue, kind of more systems going on there. Optimistic, right? You came to our buy zone 15, 14, 9.5. We talked about this, top of the box. You're finding buyers so far. If you're looking to buy this, a lot of people are talking about this one as well. This was your opportunity. 15.4 makes sense too. Again, you don't have to buy options on these names though. They're so cheap, you don't have to. Like, you get to move back into, like, let's say you get to move into 19. You're basically making over 30% just on shares. Like, and again, it's not about getting rich quick. That's not the goal, guys. That's not what you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about, how can I turn this into a living? How can I turn this into a job? How can I make this consistent? How can I, if I'm going to get married one day, if my wife doesn't work, how can I do this so they don't have to work? How can I do this so I can eliminate stress? Not so I can get a freaking Lambo and live some crazy life. Think about point B before you start to get to point Z. And that's what you guys are thinking about. You guys don't think about all that. And you think about trying to make money. And it's just stupid. Like, it's just so stupid. And again, this is an opportunity. And it's funny, you're seeing nobody talk about these names when you're actually getting decent entries. It's stupid. It makes no sense. We talk about them when they pump, but we don't talk about them when they're dropping and their actual buying opportunities. Massive. Another one, SoFi. SoFi has earnings. I've been talking a lot about them. I'll have another video come out on SoFi maybe end of the week. Still looks really good. Grinding the 50 MA, literally one of the best looking charts out there right now. I think, again, this is a sketchy one. Like, as far as like, do I buy shares or do I buy options? I genuinely think SoFi is about to go insane. I also think their earnings, and I don't like going long on earnings. I would own shares going into their earnings. That makes logical sense. Going as far as options, I think it's risky. I would just make sure you have time on your contract if you're buying SoFi options. I'm telling you that right now. I like them though. I'm a big fan. I think they're about to have smash earnings. I'm a huge fan. And again, like, you're over that previous all-time high, good earnings, and this thing runs to 35 plus, maybe even 40. Like, crazy. What a run. And you have to understand what happened today. Go Google it. Today, you had your lowest mortgage rates in over a year, going back to October 2024. And that's going to continue to drop, right? We've been talking about this mortgage. Go to Mortgage News Daily. That's who I use. Again, go to the 30-year mortgage right there. This is your chart. You're battling back down. Go to your 5-year chart. You're almost back below that. You're going to see like crazy headlines when you get below 6%, by the way. And we've been talking about this. Rate cuts are going to happen next week. Next Wednesday, rate cuts are happening. And when this gets down, it's going to be like, guess what, guys? We're the lowest we've been in over 2 years. And then they're going to drop below that. And then, like, okay, lowest we've been in 4 or 5 years. There is going to be a flood to refinancing, to the housing market, to getting loans, student loans, refinance, all of it. SoFi is in a fantastic position right now. Their earnings are set to do very good. Those are my top names short term right now. What I'd be looking at. If you have any questions, let me know there. Now, also to the sponsor of today's video as well. Again, not gonna tell you to buy, not gonna tell you to sell. I'm just going over them, giving you insight, okay? About a week ago, I told you about the Bragg House and what was happening here. And again, worth mentioning where they're at. When we made the first video, I think we were down here at like $1.07, $1.10. As of right now, you're at $1.20, hit highs of $1.25 roughly, okay? Now, worth mentioning, what are they doing? Now, you've seen all these companies that are diversifying and saying, okay, well, we're having a storage basically of Ethereum, right? We're investing all the free cash we have into Ethereum, into Bitcoin, so it can like maintain some of their growth if the company goes bad, right? And so that's what you've seen with the story of crypto and what's been going on. Things get even more interesting in what they're doing. They are not going that path of just making a holding in a crypto like Doge. Very risky what's happening out there, but what they're doing makes logical sense. They're basically in charge of getting the growth and transactions going with Doge to make it like a real world product. Now, is it a meme? Is it that? Yes. But if you look at what's happened, it's directly attached to Dogecoin and what's happened there. And if you look at what happened with Elon when they were trying to push it to get added to Twitter, as far as the ecosystem of sending in tips, etc., this is that process of getting that going. And that's basically what they're doing. And they've already got it started with over 4,750 sites, restaurant, bars, cafes, clubs, etc., accepting Dogecoin, which is crazy if you really think about it. Now, again, looking at the chart, I'm going to tell you, high risk, right? High risk. Now, it's worth mentioning this was a takeover. That's why the chart looks so crazy. So they did a reversed takeover back here. As you can see, then it dumped, and now you've been trending back up since then. Ideally, what you would like to see is get back above $1.36. Hopefully, you can push towards $2. That's what's happening there. That's what I'd be looking at. If you have any questions, let me know what you think down below. Twitter link, all the links are in the bio as well. Have a good one, traders. See you next time.